Fox's alert now. The White House announcing the U.S. will not send a diplomatic delegation to the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing over concerns about China's human rights record. Athletes will still compete next month. Some critics say the diplomatic boycott does not go far enough. Let's bring in Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton, a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. This move was rumored for a while. They finally did it yesterday. Why do you think it's not enough?
Dana, this is really nothing more than the sleeves off of Joe Biden's vest. This is the status quo. China was going to have very strict travel controls anyway on diplomats and corporate officials because of their draconian coronavirus lockdowns. What I'm worried about is the safety of our athletes. I sent the Biden administration a letter last summer asking them for how they would assure the safety of our athletes. They sent me back a letter through restricted channels, but there was nothing classified about it, and they had no plan to protect our athletes, whether it's from ubiquitous technical surveillance of their electronic devices or DNA harvesting under the guise of coronavirus testing, or even outright kidnapping. I mean, China will take hostage and disappear one of its own tennis stars and trot her out for hostage videos. What will they do to one of our athletes if one of those young men or women should dare speak up about Tibet or Hong Kong or Taiwan or any of China's crimes against the civilized world?
Even COVID.
If we can't protect our own athletes, we should not be sending them to compete in the games of a country that is committing genocide.
Yeah, Bill Hagerty, a Republican senator from Tennessee, former U.S. ambassador in Japan, said we should pressure the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, to move the games out of Beijing. It's not going to happen. It's too late for that. So then, it's going to happen. It's going to be an uncomfortable moment for the world. Continue.
Well, I would say this, Bill. Joe Biden should have been pressuring the International Olympic Committee to do that for a year. They should have never awarded these games to Beijing in the first place. But also, this is the Winter Olympics, not the Summer Olympics. The Winter Olympics are a much smaller Olympics. They have many fewer events, many fewer sports, many fewer medals, many fewer athletes. There's probably half a dozen countries in Europe right now that have the ski slopes and the ice rinks that they could still host these games. And we just got done delaying one set of games for a year because of coronavirus. Can the civilized world, led by the United States, really not demand that we move these games? Maybe we postpone these games, but we not honor the Communist Party of China for all of its crimes against its own people and the rest of the world?
Do you think that the Biden administration would be able to rally enough allies to do that?
Right now, they haven't rallied many allies to do much of anything around the world, Dana, unfortunately, but they should have been doing this from the very beginning of this year.
Let's talk about this conference with Vladimir Putin. Quick little clip from Jen Psaki here, guys. Call for number 2.
I would say that our objective here, Cecilia, is conveying diplomatically that this is the moment for Russia to pull back their military buildup at the border, that diplomacy is the right path forward here, but that we are going to continue to coordinate closely with our partners, our transatlantic partners, on a range of economic sanctions and steps that couldn't be taken should President Putin decide to move forward.
So Putin, I mean, if he hears something like that, how does he react, do you think?
Let's just say I don't think he's quaking in his boots. But Joe Biden has no one to blame but himself for this situation in Russia on the Ukraine border. All year long, he's been appeasing Vladimir Putin. First, he gave him his number one priority, a no-strings-attached extension of a nuclear arms control treaty that greatly favors Russia. Second, he granted him construction of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. And then he told the Ukrainian president to be quiet about it if he wanted to come to the White House. I've been around long enough, I remember that would get you impeached, guys. Third, he had a very weak response to cyber attacks that originated from Russia or Russian nationals. Fourth, we just sent back a notorious Russian hacker that we had in American custody. I would say this call is even an example of how he's appeasing Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin builds up 175,000 troops on Ukraine's border after this long series of concessions this year. And what does Joe Biden do? He rushes off to the Situation Room to get on a video call with him to beg him not to invade Ukraine when he's unwilling to specify exactly the kind of measures that the United States will lead Europe in taking should he invade Ukraine.
It's a strange thing, too, to advertise so much a Zoom call. You can have a call and then you read it out. I mean, it seems like a little strange, but we'll see how it goes today. We appreciate your insights, sir.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Also